We are delighted to honor individuals who are an important part of the history of Clark University athletics. Clark has offered intercollegiate athletics since 1974 when James Zanati guided the first women's basketball team to a 6-9 record. The Clark University Athletics Hall of Fame today inducts its 9th class after 45 years of intercollegiate sports. For those of you that haven't followed Clark Athletics for a few recent years, we now have 21 intercollegiate sports. We are currently in our 4th year of full membership to the NAIA's Heart of America Athletic Conference. Clark was a member of the NAIA from 1989 to 1995, joined the NCAA in the fall of 1995, and then returned to the NAIA in 2007. The process of organizing and developing criteria for Hall of Fame induction and the nomination and selection process is informative and rewarding for all who serve on the committee. And I would like to thank all of the people who were instrumental in the organization of this event. I would also like to recognize the Hall of Famers, the Hall of Famer that is present tonight, and that would be Sister Catherine Dunn. Clark University and the Athletics Hall of Fame are pleased to honor Morgan Bradford, Brock Helms, Kara Lepaka, Sandy Servet-Tweet, and Alex Wilharm. These former student athletes and coach are being recognized for their significant contributions and influence on Clark athletics and the campus community. Each inductee will be permanently recognized in the Hall of Fame display in the Kiel Center and given a tributary plaque to commemorate this special occasion. The honor of induction to the Hall of Fame is the highest athletic award bestowed by Clark University. Individuals inducted into the Hall of Fame must have demonstrated outstanding athletic achievement or significant and consistent contribution to the athletics program. They must be persons of high moral character, fine leadership ability, and must be held in high esteem by colleagues, coaches, athletes, and the Clark community. Each inductee will be introduced by a person they have chosen. Introducing Morgan Bradford is Morgan's former coach, Adam Hendricks.
All right, it's an honor to be here, first of all. And excuse me as I read this from my phone. I'm not great at public speaking, but I'm trying to get through it. Morgan Bradford was the second Clark student athlete to earn the NAIA All-American honors. She was the 7th place finish. It's her senior year. The 4-time letter winner was an NAIA indoor and outdoor national qualifier 2010, 11, and 12, so basically every year except for her freshman year. Bradford was the Midwest Collegiate Conference indoor and outdoor pole vault champion and an all-conference performer from 2009 through 2012. She was named Clark's MVP in 2011. Her collegiate best marks for both indoor and outdoor are 11 feet 9 inches, which also happen to be Clark's current school records. In the 2012, 11, and 10 NAIA Scholar Athlete, Bradford was a member of Clark's Dean List every semester and a 4-time academic all-conference honoree. Morgan was a recipient of the prestigious Ed Colbert Athletics Career Achievement Award. The award is presented annually to a senior male and female student athlete in recognition of their outstanding career achievements in Clark athletics. She graduated magna cum laude and received her Bachelor of Science degree in athletic training in 2012 and her Doctor of Physical Therapy degree in 2014. Morgan currently resides in Anderson, South Carolina with her husband Michael Rush and son Asher, who's here today, over here. Bradford has been employed by, I can't say this, Rhamnodiasis, is that correct? Home Health since 2012. On a personal note, as her coach, Morgan is one of those special athletes that teaches you as much as you hope to teach them. She's an extremely driven person. She shared that joy with her teammates, her friends, and myself every year that she's been here. Like most of the athletes that I coached here at Clark, she put her education first, was very driven at that, and was incredibly driven and passionate about everything that she did on and off the track. She never complained about her circumstances, even when I had to personally drive her up to Platteville a couple times a week just so we could get out of a pole vault pit that first year, second year she was here. She helped me build the pole vault pits that we have today, or the runway, and I'm sure that wasn't fun for her, but she put a smile on her face and got through it. I'm sure she thought about transferring out, but she was committed to her place here at Clark and her family here, and her future as a physical therapist and athletic trainer. She was a major part bringing in a big class of pole vaulters. When she first got here, she was the only one. Another reason why I'm sure she thought about leaving, but she built up this culture here, and by the time she left, I think we had a handful of 7 to 10 pole vaulters here. Brought them on, and I'm sure there's a great tradition now of that. I know they still talked to one the other day. They're still working on that runway that she helped build. Can't say enough about her. She's touched my heart in so many ways, and I'm just honored that she's a part of the Hall of Fame now. So, Morgan, would you like to come up and say a couple words?
Well, hello, everybody. Too short. Is that better? Okay. I, like Adam, can't stand public speaking, but I'm very honored to be here today and to get to come back to such a big part of my life. When I left Anderson, I had no clue where I was going. I had no clue where I was and what I was getting into, and track really helped me to create my family while I was here, and Adam put up with a lot from me. I really, my freshman year was rough. I did think of leaving. It was hard being away from my family and my mom and everything else, and Adam asked me to stick it out a little bit longer with him and see if we could make things work, and till this day I'm grateful that I did, because of not only the opportunities I had with track and pole vaulting and the people that I met, but also just the relationship that, I developed with Adam, as well as the rest of the athletes and staff and faculty around here that I still, to this day, keep in touch with, even though I'm back in South Carolina. Those relationships are ones that I will never forget, and I just feel honored to have been able to be a part of this school as well as the athletics. And I came here for my academics, but the perks of getting to pole vault and do something that I loved along the way was more than I could have asked for. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Adam and Morgan. Introducing Brock Helms is Brock's dad, Dave Helms.
Good evening. As he just said, I am Brock's dad, Dave Helms, and I'm here to represent or to introduce my son, who will soon become Clark University Hall of Famer. I want to spend just a minute talking a little bit about Brock's life before Clark. At that time it was college, but Clark University. Brock started his interest in sports when he was very young. He was involved in basketball, football, baseball. I would say he started when he was about 5 years old, and maybe sooner than that, just in our backyard. But he's always been very interested in the athletic part of his life. When he got into high school, he pretty much channeled his direction into football and into baseball. He was an all-conference performer in both sports. And in football, he was an all-Western Illinois athlete as a defensive back. That was quite an honor at that time because there was very few from a large area that got that honor. Because of these honors, in 2003, he was inducted into the Morrison High School Sports Hall of Fame. Something that I think he's proud of, and I know we're very proud of him for that. After high school, he spent 2 years at William Penn, played baseball there. When he came home from William Penn after his second year, he kind of looked at me and he said, "Dad, I think I need a change." So we started looking, and luckily for him, I think, and for Clark became his college of choice at that time. While Brock was here, only for 2 seasons, he did some wonderful things, I think, for the college. He spent in his first season, and I may have these backward, but he struck out 68 batters and had an ERA of 3.79, and he was voted the winner of the Nick Yeager Award, which is an award for, I call it, it's hustle and dedication. I think Brock is probably as proud of that award as any award he's ever had. He's always been a hustle and dedication type of athlete. He tries to instill that, and he's got 2 sons here that I know he's spent a lot of time instilling that in them. And I think that was important for him. In Brock's second season, he struck out 63 batters, had an ERA of 2.57. The team voted him MVP that year, and more importantly, the coaches voted him first team all-conference pitcher. That's quite an honor in by itself. Then what I want to talk about, which I think is the main item that sets Brock apart from most any other pitcher. In the history of Clark College, there's been 5 no-hitters thrown. In the history of Clark College baseball, I should say, there's been a total of 5 no-hitters thrown. In 2 years, Brock threw 3. So 3 of the 5 in 2 years. Anyone that knows anything about baseball knows how hard it is to throw a no-hitter, much less 3 of them in 2 years, and only 2 more really indicates what a great feat that was. I want to touch on all 3 of his no-hitters a little bit. I was fortunate I was at every one of them. The first one was, and I'll say it wrong, but it's now Ashford University, and that was a very special no-hitter because they had to make up a suspended game. So the coach asked Brock to pitch the 4 innings that needed to be pitched. And in those 4 innings, he didn't give up a hit. Of course, he doesn't get credit for a no-hitter for that. So then the coach asked him if he would start the next game. He said, "Sure, I can give you a few innings." He did. He gave him a complete game no-hitter. So that day he pitched 11 innings of no-hit baseball in one afternoon, which is a miraculous feat, I think. I used to pitch, and I never came close to anything like that, so I know how tough it is. Another one of his no-hitters, he pitched in the first game of a spring trip up in the Metrodome. And if somebody doesn't know what the Metrodome is, it's where the Minnesota Twins, up until recently, played all their home games. But he pitched a no-hitter up there in that game. And I guess my statement always is, how many people do you know that ever pitched a no-hitter in the Metrodome? What an honor. I mean, it's a real honor. And then the third one was just a little bit different because it was against Rockford College. Brock went out and started pitching and was having all kinds of trouble getting any type of his breaking ball over. So he just decided he would live that game with fastballs and change-ups and move the ball around. Needless to say, it was his third no-hitter. He did it without having any breaking ball to work with, which to me is an indicator that he had good control that day. I always say, and a lot of you won't recognize this, but it was the Greg Maddux effect. Greg Maddux was a major league pitcher that won like 360 games and couldn't break a plate of glass, with his fastball. But he could move the ball in, out, and he had great control. And I think that no-hitter indicates exactly what happened that day, and I think that was really important. Since Brock graduated, he married Lori White. Lori is a graduate of Clark. I put a little plug in for her. Her senior year, she was the female athlete of the year here at Clark. So that's pretty good. They have two sons, Nathan, who's 16, or Nate, as he prefers to be called, is 16, and at this moment, he's a junior in high school, and he's a starting quarterback on an undefeated football team. So good start to his career in football. The younger son is Adam. Adam is 12 years old in 7th grade, and he plays on a 7th, 8th grade combined football team at Morrison. And he also happens to be a member of an undefeated football team at this time. I always say I think they have good blood in them. You have two good athletes for parents, it usually does pan out pretty good. Brock has been quite active since he got married and moved to Morrison. He's been active in the Knights of Columbus, in his local chapter of the Knights of Columbus. He, as we said before, he was voted to the Morrison High School Hall of Fame, and after he was voted in, they asked him to be on that board, and he's been serving on that board ever since. He's been very active as a coach in Little League, very active on the board for Little League. And a few years ago, we had dropped or lost through the school system our youth basketball program, so he helped, through the city, helped get the youth basketball program reinstated, which is now back into the school system, so it was a really, really, really good thing. I would just personally like to say that obviously I'm very proud of my son. I'm very proud of his accomplishments, but I'm very proud of what he is as a person. And I think he would tell you that part of that, or maybe a lot of that, came from his time here. He very much enjoyed his time here, and I think that's really, really important. So at this time, I'd just like to introduce you to new Hall of Fame member, Brock Helms.
Well, good evening. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Kurt, Sister Catherine, everybody else on the committee that even nominated me for this award. I never expected this phone call, to be honest with you. So I was very surprised, very humbled. So thank you. I also want to thank those who are present with me today. Obviously, my dad and my mom, my wife, my two boys, my good buddy Mike, and my friends Terry and his wife, Jolie. So, yeah, I love sports. I've always loved sports. I've had a loving for that since I've been a young boy, like my dad said. And I've always been driven. I was always small. People told me I couldn't do it because I was small, and that made me work harder to prove I'm wrong. And in many cases I did. So anybody who knows anybody out there who's small and doesn't get what they deserve or what they earn, don't let it stop you. Make it up to convince you to work harder to overcome the obstacles. I've seen a lot of guys that were bigger than me that didn't do anything, half of what I did or what other people did. So never give up. Always try to do the best you can. And you're going to lose sometimes, but that's part of life. You have to lose. You have to learn how to lose as well as learn how to win. So Clark was a great opportunity for me. Mike Davenport, who was my coach, he granted me the opportunity to come here. Thank God for him because it was the best decision I made. Made a lot of friends here, a lot of good memories, and being inducted to the Hall of Fame is just something that I really never thought was even possible, but this was a true honor that I'll never forget. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, and I'm grateful that my family and my friends are here to enjoy this with me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave and Brock. Introducing Kara Lapaka, is Kara's friend and college roommate, Missy Emler.
And her other college roommate, Kelly Heisinger. We didn't do anything without each other, so we had to do this together. All right. So first, thank you to Kara and her family and the Clark community for allowing us to introduce this amazing coach. You are looking at, this is where we tell you who we are. You're looking at Kara's roommates, and not only in college, but for several years after college. We had the privilege of watching Kara turn from valuable player to successful coach, wife, and mom.
Our story that we're going to share today may be a little different than what you hear from the rest. We weren't teammates of Kara's. Like Missy said, we were her roommates. So we got to see a different side of Kara, and we got to see everything that Clark Athletics did for her, more on a personal and friendship level. Kara came to Clark because she was passionate and wanted to play collegiate softball. And she wanted to do so for a college that shared the same mission and faith that she did. Today we promised Kara, no matter how hard this is, that we wouldn't share the story about her 21st birthday. To be completely honest, Kara has way more dirt on the two of us than her, so that would only be doing us more harm than it would do. We did want to share a couple of meaningful stories for this event tonight. So, Kara obviously went to school here at Clark and then played softball as well. And then after graduation, she actually coached Clark's softball team. Kara's first year here as coach, she took the position. Let's just say the team was just a little short on players, or maybe a lot short on players. So Kara would go up and down the halls, asking every young woman if they wanted to play softball. She was successful. She found one to play that didn't even own a glove. We really have Coach Wilson to thank. Coach shared her glove with that player. And Kara's really appreciative of that.
And then there was the player who Kara was trying to convince her to swing the bat, and she just wouldn't do that. So Kara made her go up to bat, but she took the bat from her and made her take a pitch with no bat in her hand. I think she was always really good at proving her point. It's time to swing the bat. If you're gonna have it in your hand, you might as well swing it. So, we see we need the story. Here? Here. Kara has always been the quiet leader. See, we were the loud ones, she was the quiet one. Not ever in the spotlight, but always shining her light. She found a way to motivate herself and her teammates and her players every single day.
And this was true not just game day and not just during practice. I've never met someone who has put her heart and soul into her team. After the game, before the game, nights when we wanted to hang out and have fun, always thinking what's next for my teammates turned into what's next for my players, and what can I do to motivate them. We have two statements that we think really define Kara, not only as an athlete, but also as a coach. Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't put in the hard work. And to be the best, you have to do your best.
So, we are very honored to introduce Kara Clark LaPlaca, wife of Michael, who couldn't be here because he works with the Bengals and it's the home opener this weekend, so he's not here. And she's also the mom of Austin, Hayden, and Evan, and they're hanging out at the water park with some friends, but her family is here, and we are so happy to introduce you to Kara Clark LaPlaca.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here with such an achieved class, Morgan, Brock, Alex, and who am I missing? Thanks, Sandy, of course. My apologies. Your accomplishments are certainly humbling to be included in that group. I want to also take time to thank Kurt and Kate for bringing me on in a coaching capacity as a 24-year-old rookie. I don't know if that speaks more to Kurt as a new AD, to your innovation or your desperation. Either way, I'm grateful. And then also certainly want to thank Kelly Missy. It's been said that you are yourself the average of the people you spend the most time with. And thankfully for me, I chose to spend my time with these two accomplished women in their own professions because they certainly raised my average overall. I've always enjoyed stories, particularly stories about the underdog. And one of the reasons that I chose to come to Clark and chose to stay here was that underdog story. And it starts way back in the 1800s when Mary Frances Clark chose to leave Dublin, Ireland, the only home that she's ever known, with 4 other young women who at the time were about the same age that I was when I embarked on my journey from Clark. And they took the travel and the journey across the Atlantic Ocean through New York City to Philadelphia to begin the BDM order. Their journey didn't stop there. Imagine the early 1800s and 4 young pioneering women then picking up and moving again across a country that had not been traversed. This is the time before Uber. This is the time before Food Dash, right? So these were really like pioneering women. And it's been truly inspiring to imagine their journey to come here and settle in Dubuque, Iowa, and begin what we now know as Clark University. Their pioneering spirit certainly has been an inspiration, and I know those that work here and have been making Clark their home for many, many years embrace those values that those women it took for them to begin this order. I want to mention specifically Sister Catherine Dunn. Your vision and your leadership has been an inspiration for me personally. I can speak to many of the young women that were here at Clark during your leadership, who observed you as a leader. Some of us observed you very closely. Because I believe that in order to be it, you have to see it, right? And Sister Catherine was absolutely the epitome of a strong woman and the epitome of someone who has great vision and who can lead a large organization, because you didn't dare not, right? And I also specifically want to mention Kate Zanger, because again, in order to be it, you need to see it. And when I got here at Clark, Kate was the mother of two young children, a boy and a girl. And to see someone in an higher administration as a working mom, at the time, I guess maybe it was overlooked, but now it just means a lot to me as a working mother in an institution of higher learning. So I try to take those lessons learned by those visionaries and hopefully embark on my own journey and be a pioneering spirit in the teams that I've had the privilege to lead, and try to take those messages to the next generation of the new leaders that will be embarking on great journeys as well. I'd also like to thank, I have some former players here, former teammates, and former assistant coaches. Certainly, no coach can be successful without a wonderful staff and wonderful players who truly believe in your vision, and would specifically like to thank my family who really, truly kind of built that creativity and built that just thirst for education. I was the first person in my immediate family to be a college graduate, and it was never a question of whether we were going to college, it was a question of where, and we had that freedom to choose. So I appreciate that from my family. And then lastly, specifically to my sisters, the times where I think it hopefully is becoming reality now, the times that you were observing me showing characteristics of bossiness, hopefully it's become evident now that that truly was decisiveness and leadership. And to my parents, when you were observing characteristics and qualities of stubbornness and obstinance, truly I think it's defined now as decisiveness and hard-working, hard-nosed, things that are necessary for a successful woman to be. Right? So I'm glad we're able to clear all that up in a public setting, in a more formal setting. Again, I just truly am honored to be here. Can't thank you all enough for thinking so highly of me to include me in this class. And to Dr. Tom, I really encourage you each day when you wake up and put your feet on the floor to leave this fine institution, that you think about the pioneering spirit and the vision that it took for those 5 women to get here. And when you walk through Catherine Burnhall and Eliza Kelly, and you think about the name Margaret Mann and Rose O'Toole, you understand that those aren't just buildings, those are the spirit and heart and soul of this university and this campus, because the women that have come before us are truly blaze that trail and blaze the path, and I truly hope that I've taken those lessons and can become that woman for the next generation that I lead. Thank you.
Thanks, Missy, Kelly, and Kara. Introducing Sandy Servant Tweet is Sandy's former coach, Rick Arrington.
Good evening, folks. First of all, thank you. Took my water.
Would you like
No. Okay. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the new inductees to the Hall of Fame. I sit on that committee, and it's a process that I thoroughly enjoy, and it takes people like you, and we're loaded with applicants, and we're always looking for some more. So if you know athletes from your past that should be in this Hall of Fame, you need to nominate them, put them on our list, and so we get to take a look at them. So with that in mind, I'd like to tell you it's an honor to introduce Sandy tonight. She's left, it's been 18 years. I kind of relate with Sandy a little bit because my oldest granddaughter now is a freshman 18 years later at the University of Minnesota. I remember when Sandy was here, and this kind of correlation. I've actually known Sandy for about 20 plus years because when I was coaching high school tennis at the senior high school, she was playing at Clinton High School, and that's how I first met her. Her coach introduced me to her, and we were fortunate to have her join our program here at Clark. Sandy was a tremendous teammate, absolutely wonderful. She would do just about anything you asked her to do. She had a lot of fine characteristics, but one of the most, not so much important, but the most valuable, I think, in her tennis career was her competitiveness. She reminds me of what I call the duck theory. You've all seen a duck swimming on a pond. Well, they're cool, calm, and collective. Well, underneath, they're paddling like hell. And that's exactly the way Sandy played tennis. She didn't let her emotions get the best of her, and she kept it cool, calm, and collective most of the time, but I knew underneath she was paddling like hell. One case that comes to mind, I'll never ever forget this, I think it was 1999, she was playing for the number 4 singles title. I don't recall where, but anyway, she was playing. As I was walking around, she won the first set 6-0. That's great, that's great. I kind of talked to her a little bit and took off, and I came back a little bit later. She lost the second set, 0-6. Now, how do you do that? He says, I got this, coach, don't worry. She won the third set, 6-0, and she won another singles title. So she's very competitive, and I'm sure she still is, and I'm going to try to read some of this. It's dark as it is up here. So with that in mind, Sandy is a member of the, she was a member of 4 consecutive conference championships in the old conference we had in Northern Illinois, Iowa Conference. She ended up winning 6 conference titles in the time that she was here. She's a native of Clinton, Iowa. Sandy recorded an impressive 93 match wins in singles, a total 42 in singles and 51 in doubles. I honestly think she preferred to play doubles. She's shaking her head, so I was writing that. Okay. She claimed number 6 singles title in 1997. In 1998, which is not in the program, she finished 2nd in singles. And then in 1999 and 2000, she won the number 4 singles titles. In doubles, she won the conference championship in number 3 doubles. In 97, she finished 2nd. In 98 in doubles. And in number 2 doubles, she was a champion in 99 and 2000. Sandy had a combined record of 93 and 35, 42 and 15 in singles, 51 and 20 in doubles. In conference, now think about this, in conference, she's 47 and 4. 47 and 4. That's amazing. That's just in conference play. She also was a recipient of the Clark MVP Award recipient. Sandy graduated cum laude and received her bachelor's degree in human science or human health sciences in 2001 and her master's degree in 2002. She became a certified athletic trainer in 2002. Sandy is employed at the Intermedical Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute, outpatient physical therapy in Chesterton, Indiana. She is currently resides in Northwest Indiana with her husband, Nathan, and her children, Jenna 12, Alyssa 10, and Benjamin 6. It's my honor to introduce Sandy Server-Tweed.
I'm greatly honored to be here today, and I want to thank the committee for accepting me into the Athletic Hall of Fame and for Coach Arrington for nominating me. He kind of said part of my speech. I've known Rick for a long time through high school. My high school coach, Cindy Rashi Moore, she introduced me to tennis at a very young age and allowed me to grow in my skill, and I owe a great amount of love to her for showing me that. She introduced me to Rick and then knew I was going to Clark, and Rick asked me to be on the tennis team, and I was so grateful because it was a dream of mine to be a student athlete. But I also remember all the great memories here at Clark, and I got a solid education that I have been able to pursue in my career, and to be a student athlete along with that was a privilege. There are many fond memories of the Clark tennis team. I remember Julie, Jenny, and Melissa. We'd be in those van rides, blasting our music, and Coach would have to listen to us singing, which I'm sure he had some headaches some days. And we were constantly eating because Jenny's mother would provide us with so much food and goodies along the way. And I never imagined that coming in our freshman year that we would win 4 consecutive titles. It was amazing. It was the best time of my life. And I want to thank my family for being here today, my sister and her family, and then my husband, who was able to get off of work today since he usually is at a football game. So I'm very blessed that he was able to make it with my children. And my mom is here today, and my parents were my #1 fan, and we lost my dad last year, and he would be grinning ear to ear knowing that I made this accomplishment. So it's bittersweet that I'm inducted this year, and I know my dad would be proud. So thank you. It's a great honor.
Thank you, Rick and Sandy. Introducing Alex Wilcorn, is Clark's assistant to the president, Megan Stahl.
Thank you. Again, my name is Megan Stahl, and I am honored tonight to introduce Hall of Fame inductee Alex Wilhelm. This, again, is a very impressive class of inductees, so my congratulations to all of you on your many accomplishments and your lives well lived. I'm so happy my friend Alex is joining this esteemed group. My first role at Clark was in the admissions office, and my husband and I would regularly attend athletic events to support the students that I had recruited and worked through the college search process with. I remember watching Alex play volleyball and was immediately impressed by him, and I admired him. He was a natural leader, a general on the court. He was clearly respected by his coaches and all of his teammates. He worked hard on every single play and was so talented. And to top it off, he had red hair. So obviously I was going to be a fan. I know it's a little dark in here now, but I have red hair. Okay. The next fall, Alex applied for an internship in the admissions office, and the rest, as they say, is history. He was my intern for the year, and we became fast friends. He was a great intern, worked hard in the office, got along so well with our staff, and was fantastic with prospective students and their families. Some are blessed with the gift of gab, and Alex is one of those people. He could carry on a conversation with anyone, which is a valuable skill in admissions and in recruiting. What I learned in that year working with Alex is that he is so much more than a gifted volleyball player. He is kind and thoughtful, intelligent, loyal, hardworking. He has high expectations for himself and of others, and he believes in treating people well. He loves his family and his friends, and he's a bit of an old soul. You, as Hall of Fame inductees, are here tonight because you have gifts and talents. One of the greatest gifts of athletic participation is forming lifelong friendships. When we think back about our athletic experiences, what fills our heart and our memory bank are our teammates and our friends. Alex and his volleyball teammates and friends enjoyed great success, and he was obviously a key player in that success and was part of the program's first ever 20-plus win season and trip to the NAIA National Invitational Tournament. He was a two-time first-team NAMVIC All-Conference selection and was a two-time National Player of the Week honoree. Also a Smarty, he was a three-time Academic All-Conference selection, earned Capital One Academic All District 7 honors, and graduated summa cum laude. In his senior year, he also won the Ed Colbert Athletics Career Achievement Award, and his name remains all over the volleyball record books. So not bad for a kid from small town, Decorah, Iowa, whose high school did not even have a boys volleyball team. He knew he wanted to go into coaching, follow his father's footsteps, and during his senior year, he put himself out there in front of D1 coaches, working camps and submitting job applications. That drive and determination paid off, and he was hired to join the University of Louisville women's volleyball coaching staff, a major D1 women's program. And by the time he left, 6 years later, he was the associate head coach and recipient of the American Volleyball Coaches Association 30 Under 30 Award. He then moved on to Auburn University, where he spent the past 2 seasons. As a coach, he shared his gifts, talents, and love for volleyball with every student athlete he worked with. His career path has changed, but remains the same, is Alex's work ethic, his desire to be successful, and his good heart. I am so proud and forever grateful for the gift of having Alex Wilhelm as my friend. Congratulations. Please join me in welcoming Alex.
I'll start by saying I'm extremely honored to be awarded this today. As a little boy in Iowa, as Megan said, I did not grow up playing volleyball. I grew up playing volleyball, but didn't have the opportunity to play competitive volleyball until I stepped foot on Clark's campus. And it was a dream of mine, and it continues to just live on. So this actually comes at a pretty interesting point in my life. It's the first time in 28 years that I haven't had volleyball as a component of my life. From my very earliest memories, probably before it, I was running around the halls of Decorah High School and the gym with my dad as he was a coach. From there, I went to Clark, where I was a player, and after that was at the University of Louisville, and then Auburn in a coaching capacity as well before I made a major switch in gears this summer. So I want to first start by congratulating all the inductees here tonight and all the Clark student athletes. Being where I've come from, I can truly tell you that Clark student athletes embody what it means to be a student athlete and have a passion for your sport. We don't play in front of sold out arenas, hop on charter flights, don't have the huge apparel contracts. We really played for our teammates and really played for the love of our sport, and that's very different than our Division I counterparts, but certainly still put in the time, made the sacrifices, and pursued a dream of ours. So congratulations to my fellow inductees. The sport of volleyball for me has a very special place in my heart. It's contributed to a ton of who I am and really built incredible relationships. It's been a huge building block in my life. It started with something that I bonded with my dad over since I was very young. I am forever grateful for him opening up the middle school and high school gym for me to go practice by myself. The early and late bus rides as I followed him to his high school tournaments that he was coaching. And then of course just talking shop as I got into coaching. I owe a lot of thanks to both of my parents who've always supported me, including my pursuit of volleyball. Their unwavering support for me as a little boy in Iowa who wanted to play volleyball is a huge reason why I was able to pursue my passion of playing volleyball and achieve my goal of playing college volleyball and then college coaching. They were for sure some of our loyalist fans, as I'm sure Dane can attest to. They showed up to nearly every single home game, traveled to plenty of away games, and I know there were certainly times after bad matches that I probably didn't seem all that grateful, but I am, so thank you both for all your support. Volleyball's provided me some incredible teammates and friends at Clark here who continue to be a big piece of my life. When I tell you I had no idea what I was getting into when I stepped foot on campus, that's no joke. I had never played a point of competitive volleyball aside from adult leagues until I stepped foot on this campus. These guys, one of which is here tonight, Dan, played such a huge piece in my success. We made as many memories off the court as we did on. I'm forever grateful for the way they supported me as a player and how they continue to be my friends. I'm not sure that I would have paid $20 to come watch me do this, so I really appreciate you coming to support me tonight. As many of our other teammates are kind of spread across the country, so. My journey to Clark also introduced me to Megan Stahl, who introduced me tonight. She started out as initially a boss and mentor to me. That relationship quickly grew into friendship. She is one of the most incredibly supportive and strong people. She's endured more than most people that I've ever known in my life and has always done it with a smile on her face and asking me how I am first. And for those of you who know Megan, you certainly know that's true. I'm so thankful for our friendship. And as she said, we have never been at a loss for words, and I hope that never changes. I also want to thank my coaches that I had here at Clark, none of which were able to be here tonight. But first, Chris Miron. He took a huge risk on a nobody from Iowa. I don't know how he did what he did running a men's and women's program. Being a coach myself, I certainly know the time commitment that must have taken away from his family and his personal life. I'm so thankful for the opportunity he gave me. And I'll never forget that Sunday afternoon when I got a random phone call from him when I was in high school after I had filled out an online questionnaire. And he came to ask me if I wanted to come on a visit. I'm sure I sounded like an idiot on the phone, but the rest is history, I guess. Here I stand, so it worked out. I also want to thank Chris Dorn, JP Dorn, and Eric Plunkett, who coached me my last 2 years here. They all challenged me and supported me in ways that really elevated my game and gave me a confidence in myself that I had never had as a volleyball player. They had a profound impact on me both as a player and as a person, and I certainly can say that they treated our group, our teammates, as true family, and I certainly appreciate that. Lastly, I want to thank Kurt Long, the athletic department, and Clark University. Thank you for putting this on for all of us tonight and the recognition, but most of all, thank you for giving student athletes like myself a place to pursue our passions and grow and get an education. I, as many of us who are here tonight, have firsthand experience about how athletics can take you away from your family, have limitless time commitments, and certainly is not a moneymaker for universities. I understand that, but it has provided all of us a platform to grow as people and pursue lifelong dreams and really live out what we wanted to do as kids. So thank you all for coming tonight and supporting us, and thank you for the opportunity.
Hall of Fame display can be viewed in the rotunda area of the Kiel Center. The name of each inductee with the year of induction is inscribed and displayed on the banners attached to each column in the Kiel Center. Each banner represents one induction year. Today you'll be able to see, if you choose to go across the street to the Kiel Center tonight, a total of 9 banners with 42 inductees. The Hall of Fame will continue to grow over time, and we are especially proud of this class and each new inductee. To conclude our ceremony, I would like to thank each of our inductees for their contributions to Clark Athletics. Each of you holds a special place in the history of Clark University. Thank you to each one of you.